Hey, this is a longer podcast, and it's longer than I thought. Sorry about that. But it's all about beliefs, how they hold you back and how you can change it. Because when you change, you can change quickly. Because when you change a belief and you change quickly, boom, anything can happen. Anything. And I want to say anything is anything good. Everything good can happen. And I want to change your thoughts from, oh, I can't, I'm stupid, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, to, I'm okay, I've got this. Let's go. Because it's not acceptable to accept this negative feelings and negative emotions. We just acknowledge them and then find a better way. If that's of interest to you, to find out how to do that, listen after this. Hey, this is the Personal Development Unplugged podcast, where we use hypnosis. Yeah, hypnosis. NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Don't worry what it is. It's just a mass of processes that we're going to get you to change. Change to let go of anxiety, low self-esteem, and create massive supreme inner confidence. But that's confidence in your competence and competence in your confidence, which means you can do anything and be safe, to enjoy the world as it should be, with you at the helm, creating the life that you want. That's what this podcast is about. You, and being the best you could be, singing from your real voice, aligned with your mission, aligned with your passions. That's what it's about. So if you're interested in letting go of anxiety, if you're interested in letting go of fear, guilt, all those blooming syndromes, imposter syndromes, and every little bit of the mind which is negative, then have a listen here, because we've got some wonderful processes and lots of good conversations between you and me to get us both thinking in such wonderful ways. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Just take the chance to have a listen.
This is Personal Development Unplugged with Paul Cloughie.
In simplicity, there is genius.
In simplicity, there is genius.
Hey friend, we've got a longer podcast today, and I hope you're well, and thank you for your time, and I'm going to thank you at the end, but thank you now for just being with me and talking about beliefs. When beliefs hold you back, and they can for a positive reason, they're no longer appropriate anymore. What if we change beliefs that hold you back, that stop you being your best? As I said, I know they have positive intentions, but they're no longer appropriate. So what if? And that what if comes from that best reframe I've heard by far. Remember that FMQ, the best reframe by David Goggins? What if? What if I succeed? So what if we manage to change a belief that sort of holds you back? And what we're talking about? We're talking about things like, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I don't deserve this. I don't deserve to be here. A long time ago, when I first started learning this stuff, I used to be on various forums. You know, there used to be forums on the internet. I guess there still are. They're not on many. They're mainly on bloody Facebook now, aren't they? But they were on the internet, and I used to read them, and there used to be stuff from other hypnotists saying, oh, do you think we can change a core belief? Do you think we can? Can we do that? Or and other people would go, no, core beliefs are core beliefs. They can't be changed. I'm thinking, what? What do you mean you can't change a core belief? I've just written in my notes, that's balls. You can change a core belief in a second, and I'll show you how to do that shortly. But you see, let's identify what a core belief is. And a core belief, I believe, and this is all about my beliefs, because to be honest, what I'm telling you is what I believe to be right, but I don't know that it is. There's no science. Well, there's no science that's proving this, I don't think. There may be, but not that I know of. But I just know in my experience, it seems to be right. So what's a core belief? A core belief is around your identity. I can. I am. I can't. I'm not. You've got the two positives and two negatives. It's all about who and what you think you are. And you see, identity is so close to values as well. There's not much between them. Values like honesty, love, truth. They're intertwined, I think, sometimes. But can you change a core belief in a second? I'll give you an example of changing a core belief in a second. There was a time that someone, and this is so basic, in a way that there was a time when people believed that if you could run a mile in under 4 minutes, you would die. Your head would explode. Or is that when you go on a train over 30 miles an hour, your head would explode? Crazy stuff. But people really believed you would die if you could run a mile under 4 minutes, and it was totally impossible. I cannot do that. I'm not good enough. And then Mr. Roger Bannister came along, a Brit, a Brit, came along and smashed it. He ran a sub 4 minute mile. And you know what? Within days, it affected everyone who's a runner or who wanted to run a sub 4 minute mile, who believed they couldn't. And now they saw it and they believed it's possible now. They believed it wasn't possible for them. And there were so many sub 4 minute miles run within weeks of Mr. Roger Bannister, a Brit, by the way, a Brit. Did I say that enough times? So you can change that core belief of, I can't do this. I'm not good enough, in a second. And that was by example of somebody else. And that's why I always say, let's be the example we want to see in others. Because if we can be that example, we can change their beliefs, we can change their behaviors, we can change their emotions. I'll give you another one. I'll give you another personal one. This is me, the introvert. The introvert who didn't really want to be a trainer. Can you believe that? Introvert, training people, standing up in front of people. And you see, that's okay. It's okay in context. Being an introvert, I'm happy with that, sitting in quietly by myself. Maybe with a group of people, but being quiet amongst myself. But in the training, doesn't quite work so well. And if you're in a training in front of 100 people on like an auditorium, and you're doing hypnosis and demonstrations on a stage, being an introvert doesn't quite work. And see, I believed I couldn't do anything in front of, say, 5 people. I used to, I just, anything more than 3, 4, 5 people, I'd be really panicking. And the first training I ever did by myself was really weird, because I'd been told we'd like you to come and do a training and teach us some work to do with around trauma. And I thought, there's 16 people. I can muster up enough courage to work with 16 people. And I did. I worried about it a lot, though. And that worry, the positive intention of that worry was I'd learn everything about what I was going to train, what I was going to share. And here's the thing. Just before I got to that training, I said, has everyone turned up? Has all 16 people turned up? And they said, 16? No, we told you 60. I'd misheard. And now, what am I going to do? I planned for 16, and I had to put myself into a state, or take myself out of that state into a better state, anchoring it in, all that stuff that we've talked about. And I did a 2-day training in front of 60 people. And I got rave reviews from the other trainers there was actually trainers in the 60 people, which was really then, they were seasoned trainers, and there was me, my first training. And they really loved it. And there's that belief gone. I can't train anybody more than 5 people. Can't do it I used to think I couldn't train by myself, because I used to love giving trainings with my younger son Joseph. I still do. Love working together with him, supporting him. But I didn't really believe that I was good enough to train by myself. That went just like that. So what about you? What core beliefs do you have that that don't support you anymore? Because that one didn't support me, did it? Anything that says I'm not good enough, I don't deserve this, I don't deserve to be fine, to be here. I'm not good enough, and they'll find me out, that old imposter syndrome. Can't do this. Who am I to think that I can do this? You see, why would you change a core belief, or any belief for that matter? Think about that. I'm going to pause. So you can just have a little muse. Why would you change a core belief, or any belief for that matter? And you could think really difficult answers. But it's, as usual, the simple, hiding in plain sight answer: when they no longer support you. That's as simple as that. Yes, I know I talk about limiting beliefs having a positive intention. And my work with people is based around changing those beliefs that have the positive intention but are no longer appropriate. And the thing is, when we find that one thing that changes all, and they tend to include a negative emotion and a negative or limiting belief, everything else, all the effects disappear. But you have to find that one thing that changes them all. And that's the way I work, because no good using hundreds of processes on lots of things. You find the one thing, the root cause. And all you really have to make sure that you keep that positive intention. So let's see now. See, let's take that belief of I'm not good enough. What would be the positive, I'll say that again, what might be the positive intention of having a negative, because it is a negative belief, because it says I'm not good enough. Well, you see, if I was your best friend and I didn't want you to do stuff that might end up hurting you, feeling a failure, getting embarrassed, well, I'm going to give you that belief of I'm not good enough, because it'll do one of two things. It'll either stop you doing that stuff, and if you don't do that stuff, you can't fail. Therefore, you can't be hurt. You can't have those feelings of failure or feelings of hurt or embarrassment, can you? Unfortunately, though, the conflict is that you feel all of those by not doing them, or you make sure you get everything, all the ducks aligned. I think that's a term. You get everything just right. You make sure that everything is going to be so good, so right, so perfect. But unfortunately, sometimes that then leads to overwhelm. And the overwhelm leads to anxiety and fear. And guess what happens? That is not the best state. Not the best state at all, is it? To produce your best, to be your best. Because when you're in fear, when you're that tense, you're not being yourself. But it's all done for the wonderful intention, positive intention, to keep you from being hurt, from feeling a failure. And that's the conflict, because even then, if you do it and you feel a failure, it just racks it up again, doesn't it? And then you have to think, well, what would be a better way? Because we don't want to have those feelings, do we, of failure? We don't want to be hurt. We don't want to be embarrassed. What would be a better way? Well, having a belief that I deserve to be here. I am actually good enough. And being able to access the right emotions, i.e. states, and all that information you want to share, that would be good enough, wouldn't it? And you'd probably succeed. And if you did, let's call it a failure, you'd then see it as, well, that was just a result. I can learn from this because I can use that. Because some people say the best things in life to me were my failures because I learned from them. They're the most important things. Here's the thing now. Let's bring to mind one of yours. Maybe I'm not good enough. I want you to think. Just take a moment right now to think about what it stops you achieving, what it stops you doing right now. Okay, just think about it. You can get that feeling maybe, that feeling of I'm not good enough. And just notice with this feeling, what are the things that you want to do that you're not doing because of that belief? Lots, isn't there? It doesn't feel good either, does it? Here's the thing. Let's just shake that off and just say thank you to your unconscious mind. Yeah, thanks for doing this. Not Not the feeling, but thanks for trying to protect me. But here's something you can show your unconscious mind. Just for a moment, I want you to imagine this. What would life be like if you did achieve those things in total safety, in total comfort? I mean, see what you'd see when you are really being that success that you desire. And you're doing the things, and you're speaking in such a wonderful, calm, collected way. You're connecting. Feel what it would feel like to know that you're safe, you're comfortable, and you're just doing the things you love, doing the things that you dream of. What's it like to do that stuff? When you're accessing all your skills, having the right thoughts, having wonderful positive emotions that support you, and have a set of beliefs and values that really keep you safe, that really enable you to do whatever you want with such ease. Maybe when I say just such ease, but you may have to put effort into it, but it's a good effort. It's like being in the flow. And when you can imagine all of that, boom, that's a better way by far, isn't it? It's a better way by far. Have we changed the intention? No, not at all. We've kept that safety and comfort in mind. So, to change your belief in that way, because we've given an example now, an example to your unconscious mind of how it could be, keeping the positive intention, but how it could be. And you see, what we're doing now is we're loosening the model of your world. Because everyone has a model of the world. We all believe our model of the world is the right model of the world because we've seen it with our own eyes. What? Yeah, we've filtered it, we've changed it, we've done everything. It's not the same thing as everyone else sees, by the way, even though we think it is, and we believe we're right. But sometimes, you just imagine having that belief of I'm not good enough does not make your model of the world all that good. But if we give ourselves some, call them counterexamples, such as imagining doing things in a different way that support us in a wonderful way, or even going back to the past, in times when you have been successful. I get my clients to do this. I go, just write out maybe 3 or 4 times in the past. Just narrate maybe a couple of lines that describe an event in your past when you've been successful and you felt safe and comfortable and you've enjoyed the process of doing whatever you're doing. And feel that feeling. You might even say to yourself, if you don't know the belief you had back then, you might say, what belief did I have back then? And you'll get it. But if you can't get it, you just say to yourself, what belief must I have had about myself to be able to perform in that way? And it'll be things like, I'm okay, I'm good enough. And you see, each time we do that, we're loosening the hold of that model of the world. It's less rigid. And you see, while we keep doing that, so if you were to think now of a time in the past where you were just in the flow, in the moment, you were safe, you were comfortable, just remember it now. What did you see? What did you hear? What did it feel like to be in that wonderful moment where energy just comes and the motivation there is there? The confidence, the self-esteem is all there for you. And you're a success. It's good enough. Hey, how's that? See, that's a counterexample. And I'm sorry now. I have to apologize. We've just slipped in another one, another counterexample that's going to loosen the model of the world of that. I'm not good enough. And you see, just notice how you feel about that now. Just notice how you feel about that. About doing those things. The thing is, let's just go back a little, because you can keep doing that, by the way. Do that as many times as you like, because every time you loosen that model of the world and you get a counterexample of where your belief and the emotions that you've been using just are no longer appropriate, your unconscious mind has got to go, it's got to weigh up the two. Which one's better? And your unconscious mind has to follow the better way to keep you safe, to keep you healthy. Anxiety, fear does not keep you healthy, does not protect you. You've got fight and flight to protect you. And you've got wonderful, positive, powerful core beliefs. Good ones. Supportive beliefs. But the thing is, where do bloody beliefs come from? Well, if you think about it, when we were young, they came from the significant others in our lives. When we were just a sponge. We were just a sponge and we took them on. We either took them on by what we heard or we took them on what we saw. And where did those significant others get their beliefs from? And when you think about it, if it was your parents or people who acted like parents, where did they get their beliefs from, their experiences from, when they were young, when they were a sponge? Well, they got it from their grandparents or other people who acted like grandparents. And where did they get theirs from? People who acted like grandparents or were grandparents. They were generations ago, have come down through our DNA and experiences. And that they've created beliefs and behaviours. Just learned beliefs, learned behaviours. Has the world changed in the last 50 years? God, it's changed immensely. So think about where the people who you were a sponge to got their beliefs on. The world was changed by then. Go back another couple of generations and the world was a completely different place. So the beliefs that they had, I mean, I do believe that the core values and beliefs that, truth, love, honesty, well, they don't change, do they? Being able to share, to support other people, they don't change. But it's the other stuff. And you see, you can ask one question. Is it still true? Is the belief I have still true? I'm not good enough. Is that still true? I've just found some counterexamples. It can't be. How do I know? I don't know anymore. How do they know? I don't know. Has the world changed enough so as this not to be relevant anymore? Ooh, that's loosened that model again, hasn't it? Sorry. My apologies. Got to keep loosening it, though. And you see, when you think about it, when I said, we see other people by, and be the change you want to see in people, but sometimes people are the way they are and they change people, not by, a positive direction. You see, I know that, and this is a pure example, if you're in a family or if you're in a home or something like that and people fight, maybe they hit each other, they abuse each other mentally, physically, but they say they love each other. They make up. Oh, we're so much in love. And then they fight. They hurt each other. Maybe that's sometimes how some people get to think what love is. And then they search out people to love them like that, because that's what they feel and think love is. That's their model of the world. Examples are battered partners, aren't they? I call them battered. They're battered because they're abused, aren't they? Abused partners. Most of them, I guess, are women, but they're just partners. Everyone can go through this. And the thing is, when you see these people, they don't tend to just go through one relationship and go, this isn't right. You see them go through a whole train of partners in that way, from one bad person to the next. And the trouble is that bad person actually had the similar experiences. And it's not till we ask ourselves, is that true? Where did they get it from? Or we see by experience people loving each other, looking after each other, supporting each other. Can you think of people who do that really support each other? Would really be there for them all the time, showing love, comfort, support. Who do you know in the world that does that? Oh, there's another loosener of a model somewhere along the line there, isn't there? Yeah. But you can see now where we can pick up these beliefs, because I believe that's what love is. Or I don't believe I deserve to be better than my parents. I don't deserve to be better than my siblings because of my experiences. How do you know? How do you know that's true? And you see, the thing is, if we could just find the positive intention And when you find the positive intention is, because love, if you take that example, love and finding someone to love you is awesome, isn't it? But just work. Just ask, how's this working for me right now? How's this working for me? That's what I ask my clients sometimes when they go, well, I'm doing this, this, and this, and this, and this. And I go, how's it working for you? He said, well, it's not, is it? That's why I'm here, Paul. That's right. We know there's a positive intention, but it's no longer working for you. Boom, there's one that goes into the unconscious mind. And when you know that it's not working for you, but you know you want it, then we can go, hey, how do you want it? I'll say to my clients, what do you want? And they'll tell me, oh, I don't want this. And I said, hey, I didn't ask what you don't want. Please answer the question. What do you want? And then as they start to tell me, obviously they're going to visualize it a little bit, and I'm going to go, actually, see yourself there now. See yourself there doing it. Having it the way you want it. Do you feel safe? Do you feel comfortable? Are you being supported? Are you happy with the way that it is right now? Really visualize it right now, how you want it to be. And you see, when you do really visualize it, and it feels good, and it feels safe, boom, oh no, we've got another counterexample, haven't we? Another way of working, because it's that magic question. We've talked about the magic question before on another podcast. I think it was only I don't know if it's a small one or not, the FMQ. And it was, how do you know? How do you know? And it's like this belief. You've got this negative belief. You've got this limiting belief. I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy, or I shouldn't be here, and all that stuff. They'll find me out. And you just know, instead of just how do you know it's true? How do you know this belief is true? We know we've gone through where these beliefs have been generated. So are they true? Now we know intellectually, of course they're not true. But this is unconscious, so we need to find out the data, as it were. And how do we find they're not true? It's again finding those counterexamples. Times in your life when it hasn't been true. And if you notice, when you find those examples when it hasn't been true, so where you have been worthy, you were accepted within a group of peers, and to be honest, you are, where you were successful, where you were, really sometimes stretching yourself, and we don't have to be successful in getting the successful ending of this, but you can be successful and say, well, I did it. I tried. I did my best. Yeah, I didn't quite get there, and I've learned from it. That's the success. That's the real success. Stretching beyond your comfort zone, your familiar zone, and going into that little expanse of, oh, this is different. And then finding out, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Maybe I'm a little bit rocky, but I can learn from this. A little bit like my very first experience of going in that training. 16 or 60. I couldn't turn back. I had to go through it. And then I found out, well, yeah, it was daunting. And there was a few occasions in that weekend where I stumbled a little bit, but people were there for me, with me. And they helped me, and I learned. Now, the other thing you can think about is, because we keep loosening this model of the world, so what I'm doing here, and I want you to really follow with me. I mean, if you think about it, you go back to that visualization of how you'd like it to be. Okay? Remember that one? You went through it. I know you did. But if you did it now, if you started to visualize how you want things to be different, and just say to yourself, what belief have I got right now when I'm doing this? And if it's not there, you say, well, what belief would I have to make this work, to get this success, and to be in comfort, and to be in safety, and to enjoy myself? What belief would I have to have that would make it better, that would make it okay, which would make everything just work? But it would work in a way that, if you think about it with that first example that I had to have the belief that I'd be okay, that I knew my stuff. And when I thought about it, the data was, I did know my stuff. In fact, I knew my stuff, and I was sharing it with people who didn't know my stuff. And I was bringing them with me, and they brought me with them. because it comes down to, I guess, who you are. Being genuine, being authentic, being, just singing from your own voice. There was questions I had, and I just honestly, I don't know the answer to that one. I'll find out for you. And people were going, oh, I was human. Yeah, I'm human. We're all human. But if you think about that belief, what belief must I have had to be able to do that? And it was literally, I've got this. I'm okay. I've got this. And that might not seem the most powerful, motivating, yeah, hooray, and all that stuff. But no, I've got this. I'm okay. That was the most powerful belief I could take. And it might be the one that you just need. What belief would you have to get that success in comfort and safety? I've got this. I'm okay. And now you're saying to your unconscious mind, look, here's another counterexample. Here's a type of belief that would work so much better than, oh, I'm not worthy. I can't do this. I'm stupid. All that stuff. So which works for you? Maybe summarize some of these. So when a new belief raises its head, you can go through these questions. What makes it true? Is this true? How do I know it's true? Where did it come from? What's the positive intention of this? And it's not working. It's in conflict. Where are my counterexamples in the past when it's not been true? How can I loosen the model of the world? What examples can I give to myself that loosen the models of the world? My world. And you see, anything that causes you anxiety, fear, low self-esteem, lack of confidence will probably always, I say always. You have to say probably because always is a generalization, but it's always. They have a limiting belief. So, and the one thing is when you change that limiting belief and you put the right intention in, because you remember, if you have intention, that's where the confidence comes in. If I intend to do this thing this weekend and have a success on it, that's my confidence. And then the result happens. And then you can get more confidence from that result. But you don't get confidence from the result alone. You get it from your intention, having honest intention. And that's where you get it from. And your unconscious mind picks it up and works with you. What belief must I have? What belief works for me? And it's not a belief that, this is all shiny and dancing and just changing. No, we have to find those counterexamples first. Now remember, if there's things like lack of confidence and you need a little bit of help, you can always go one-to-one. Sometimes everything we've done here will help. But if it's a bit more of a bigger problem for you, bigger issue that you need help with, I always say go one-to-one. Find a therapist who's bloody good at hypnosis, bloody good at NLP, and bloody good at timeline therapy. Then you'll get a bloody good result. Sorry about the swearing. But you will. You can do it online if you need to. I work online with loads of people in all countries of the world. Just matter getting the timing right. And if you wanted to, and I didn't do all of this just for this, but I just think about it, I'm giving you a massive discount. I'll even tell you what it is. It's 60%. 60% discount from my Supreme Inner Confidence program. And I call it Supreme Inner Confidence. It doesn't mean you're going to be overconfident, but you have to say things like that, Supreme. But it's just getting your right level of competence so you can have your confidence in whatever you do. So you know that you're okay. It clears the past, it clears the present, and then creates a future. It's in 3 easy steps. And there's 2 processes to each step. And I think it's really wonderful. But hey, where'd you get that discount? Well, if you sign up to the podcasts, not the podcast, Paul, come on, Cloughie. If you sign up to the free hypnosis, then you'll get the discount code. Okay? Where'd you get that from? paulcloughonline.com/podcast. There you go. I've given everything away now. But anyway, that's just an aside. I want to help. And that's why I give you that massive discount. It's only available to people who sign up for the free hypnosis, because I know then that you are, you're going to put the will to do whatever it takes. But the thing is, it's not acceptable to have these feelings. And why'd you say that, Cloughie? Well, I say this to all my clients. Never accept that anxiety, that fear, that low self-esteem, that lack of confidence, or whatever you're feeling. All those could be OCD, could be depression, could be sadness, could be feeling of guilty, could be feeling of jealousy, could be any bloody feeling you have which is not positive and not supporting you. There'll be a conflict and it's not acceptable. But all you have to do is acknowledge it. And once you acknowledge it, say, yeah, this is a feeling. How can I change it? What would be a better feeling? And work through these things that I've just gone through. And there's loads of other podcasts we've done here. But just go through these things and looking at your beliefs, because beliefs will change everything. I believe when you change a negative or limiting belief, your whole world will change right now. That's all you have to do. And you can change now. You really can. Right now. I believe that so sincerely and desperately and confidently. You know, when I work with clients, I know they're going to change. They just need a little help. And hopefully, looking at these limiting beliefs, that's where the help will come. I'm sorry it's been a longer podcast. It wasn't supposed to be this long. But hey ho. So if you want to cut it up in two, I'm sure you can do that. But thank you so much for your time. Thank you for letting me share my thoughts that enable me to get my thoughts together too. About my I'll say that again. I went into a little ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Thank you for allowing me to get my own limiting beliefs in order so I can start going through this process too. Because that's what this podcast is all about. Me going through my stuff and sharing it with you so you can get through your stuff. So thank you so much for your time. Please, I share my stuff. Please share this. Please share this podcast with everyone you know if you would. It would make so much difference to me and obviously to the success of the podcast. Let it keep growing. Let's keep making a difference to this little old planet Earth by being the change. We want to be the change that we want to see in others. Be the example of how easy it is to change when you just have the will to do whatever it takes. And you do have the will to do whatever it takes. Okay? Time to fly, my friends. Have more fun than you can stand. Ta-da.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.